Belief is a powerful thing. We got to start with that belief. We've got some power in this. That's why they're doing this. They're not doing it
Yeah,
because we weak. They're not
that's right.
doing it because we losing. You
That's
don't
right.
cheat when you really believe that you got the cards. You
That's right.
cheat when you're losing. We got
That's
the
right.
power.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
We are talking about emergency measures to respond to what's happening in Texas, and we will nullify what happens in Texas. We will pick up 5 seats with the consent of the people, and that's the difference between the approach we're taking and the approach they're taking. We're doing it on a temporary basis. We're doing it in a fully transparent way, and we're doing it by asking the people of the state of California for their consent and support. Mark that stark contrast to what's happening in Texas and other states.
That is the voice of Governor Gavin Newsom from the state of California responding to what Texas has been trying to do, but they're not able to do it because the Texas legislature, the Democrats have been MIA, despite the FBI trying to track them down and being threatened with all kinds of things and fined. They are not showing up, which is the other part of resistance. Yes, I'm here for it. And joining us to give us more perspective is the co-founder of Black Voters Matter, Cliff Albright. Welcome. Hi.
Hey, Karen, it's good to be back.
Good to see you. Good to see you. How you doing? How are you?
Y- Hey, I'm doing as well as we can be doing in the midst of a racist, fascist slide into autocracy. But other than that, I'm hanging in there.
Okay, but you knew this was coming, right? Because you were out here trying to warn us. You've been on this
Yeah,
show and other shows. You read Project 2025, but more importantly,
Mm.
you've been alive doing this work for the last 20 plus years. You knew this was coming.
yeah, yeah. No, we literally knew this was coming. We knew this was coming while we were warning people about the attacks on voting rights all throughout 2021, right? And we see where that's brought us. We warned people about the attacks on the Voting Rights Act, which as you know, we're celebrating or commemorating the 60th anniversary, even as it's laying on its deathbed, not from natural causes, by the way. And then, we warned people about it in terms of 2025. And I'm not saying that from a I told you so perspective. Really, I'm encouraging folks. It's still not too late to go back and look at what's in 2025 because they are going through it piece by piece. But the good news is, just as much as it's a blueprint for them on what they're trying to do, it's a blueprint for us on how we need to stop them from
Okay.
doing what they're trying to do.
I want to focus on the stopping. The stopping could have happened in
Yeah.
November. Not enough people showed
Mm-hmm.
up to vote. There was
Mm-hmm.
some voter fraud, definitely some machinery, things blown up, things burnt, ballots burned. Maybe Elon's child told us that his daddy did something with the machines. I'm going to
The
believe the child.
satellites.
I'm going to believe that the satellites did something. In addition to not enough people thought it was important enough to show up, or they didn't vote the presidential ticket. They did down ballots because of Gaza, which, by the way, is in a condition right now that I think history is going to tell a story of genocide that we haven't seen since the Holocaust. History is going to tell
Yeah.
that story.
Yeah.
That said, we're here now. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to lament all that it didn't happen.
Right, right.
What, what can we do now?
Yeah. So here's the situation. I know that you've been talking about it. We know about the attacks, the racist gerrymandering that's taking place in Texas. We're actually a client of LDF on an amicus brief that they're going to be filing in regards to that racist gerrymandering that's taking place. But and you just played the clip from Gavin, who I've had some disagreements with Gavin Newsom, but I got to say his response on this gerrymandering thing has been on point. It is the only, as they say in The Mandalorian, it is the way. This is the way, right? This is the way that you respond to an attempt to gerrymander like this. You tell them you go get five, I'm gonna get five, or in fact I might get nine. They got 9 seats that they can play around with over in California. Trump and Mike Johnson and Abbott, they playing around, but the truth is they don't have the cards, right? Yeah, you got Texas. Texas is pretty big, yeah, but we got California, we got New York, we got Illinois. You want to play this game of like going like mutually assured destruction, of going, tit for tat and fighting fire with fire. We got the numbers. So, but what we need is the political will within all of those states to do what Gavin's doing, because we need New York to do it. Kathy Hochul been saying some good stuff, but I need them to start the process. Like I need to see
What?
some committee hearings and all that taking place.
So Cliff, I know you guys are not necessarily partisan, co-founder of Black Voters Matter. I'm not partisan. I don't believe in D's and R's no more
Hmm.
so than I, believe in unicorns, because I think that we've seen parties shift based on,
Yeah,
we played a clip about Chuck Schumer making up this family. It's like, oh my God. And the lack of fight against Mitch McConnell stealing that Supreme Court seat, to me, gave me no, like, I can't be invested in a party. I can only
that's
be
right.
invested in our interests and
That's
whomever's
right.
going to show up to do that. So
That's right.
even that, I feel like we need a better strategy. We're not just out here caping for Democrats,
That's
but
right.
we have to push people into service because they've been too comfortable.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, no, and it's definitely not about caping for Democrats. It's about what do we need to do to protect our communities, right? And if the only thing that can protect our folks, whether it's in Texas, and this is not just a Texas issue, right? When you talk about control of this Congress, it's about like whether or not they'll continue to be able to just run roughshod over our communities. Like what we see happening right now in DC, again, that's in Project 2025, and they're not trying to just stop at DC, right? They're trying to take it to Chicago. They're trying to take it to Baltimore. They're trying to take it to
Oh,
Oakland. They're trying to take it
but
to all of our cities, and especially the cities that have black mayors. So this isn't about the Democratic Party, but it is about what are the strategies that we need to follow in order to block this, and who it is that we have leverage over, that we can put some pressure on to use the power that they have, the power that we've given them, right? To be governor of California or governor of New York or governor of Illinois or governor of Maryland, like West Moore, forcing them to be accountable and to use their full power to try to block what's going on in Texas. And again, it's not just about Texas, it's about all of us. It's about all of our cities, all of our communities, and all of our issues, by the way. I don't care what issue you care about. I don't care if it's voting rights. I don't care if it's police violence. I don't care if it's healthcare. I don't care if it's environmental justice, reproductive justice, and maternal health and mortality. Whatever your issue is, whether or not they get away with this gerrymander in Texas and whether or not they spread it to these other states, it affects every issue that we need to be dealing with right now. So this is all about our communities and not just about protecting the Democratic Party.
is this a trial run for complete, autocracy? Is this like Texas is always kind of like where they pushed affirmative action? That was one of the first, like they test these things out. And then, as you mentioned, because I think Arizona is up next. I've been reading. Is this a test to see what they can get away with?
Yeah, I mean they this is a test. I mean it's past the test, right? It's really at like just flat out implementation because they've been doing a bunch of tests. LA was a test for what we seeing now in DC, right? They sent the
Got you.
military to LA and now we see it in DC. So that was a test. This gerrymandering that we're seeing. Well, hell, this isn't our first rodeo. It's our first dance with this gerrymander. They gerrymandered in Florida and Alabama and Louisiana and Georgia in between 2020 and 22. That's how they stole Congress in 22. Because they only won Congress by what, like 4 or 5 seats. They gerrymandered about 5 or 6 seats just in those states that I just named, right? And so,
So
so yeah,
why wasn't this? No, okay. I don't want to litigate the past, but who?
yeah.
Cliff Albright is here. Who's about this life and who's not? Let's start. Let's
Mhm.
start. Like who's actually in it? Because I feel like the kind of leadership. Because you said we empowered these people. We showed up and voted. This is why you have these seats. Who's
Right.
doing the work? Because it feels like no one's doing it, but I know that's not right. I know somebody's doing something.
Right,
who are the
right.
heroes in this time? Who are the people who are doing what we sent them to Congress or the State House or the Senate, which is Congress, to do?
Well, I'm glad you asked because I want to lift up the legislators from Texas, right? So let's start there because it is not an easy thing for you to leave your home, to leave your family, like in some cases, to leave your job, to go to a whole other states for 2, 3, 4 weeks, simply because you're trying to fight this fight. We were proud to be with them when they did this back in 2021. As I said, during the voting rights battle in 21, which was the last time. That's when we first doing work with Jasmine Crockett before the rest of the country really knew who Jasmine was. We knew what a star, she was, and the type of folks that they have in that Texas legislature. So I really want to lift up that whole caucus, and especially the Black caucus that's really been holding it down within that caucus. So, so you got folks like that understand that this is not business as usual, that we can't just go through the same motions of like, trying to, file a petition or trying to do this committee vote or or in terms of outside, just doing phone calls or whatever. We've got to do stuff that is out of the ordinary. When you're going up against this type of force, you've got to match it with a like force, right?
Mm.
That's science, that's nature, right? This
Hmm.
you've got to match it with a like force. You can't match it with some weaker force. You can't, you talk about bringing a knife to a gunfight, however you want to phrase it. You've got to match this level of brazenness, this level of racism, this level of corruption. You've got to be willing to go outside the box. And we're seeing some elected officials that have been willing to do that. What Newsom is doing right now is outside the box. And we need some of these others, right, to do the same thing. Because as you said, this isn't a party, and the party ain't always they not always willing to go as far as what we need them to go. And so we've got to push some of these folks to use their power. Look, I'm in a voting rights organization. We believe in fair representation. We want fair maps. We don't want elected officials picking the voters. Voters need to be picking the elected officials, right? And so we could theoretically take the line of, look, gerrymandering is wrong. So even though Texas is wrong, y'all, we can't go low. Time out for that right now, right? When they go low, I'm gonna kick them. If they gonna, and so we have got to have folks in elected position that are willing to go that far, to use the full power that they have that they're at their disposal. And that's the fight that we're trying. That's how come we're partnering with groups like Color of Change and Community Change, Action, the C4 arms of these organizations to do a letter to some of these states. We're actually it probably launching. What time is it? Might maybe within the next 5 minutes. We're going to be launching it and sending it to the states of those states that I mentioned: New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Illinois, Washington, Oregon. All these trifecta states, because we need y'all to use the power that we have given you. We're not asking you to do us a favor, right? We ask you to do your job and to protect our communities. That's what we're calling on right now.
Really quick, we have a minute left. Cliff Albright is here. Black voters matter. If somebody's listening and they want to get involved, they don't know what to do, what will you tell them? What can you tell them to do?
Yeah. So the good news is this: there's something for everybody to do who's listening to this. If you're in Texas right now, there's several things you could be doing, including there's going to be a day of action this Saturday. That's going. It's actually a national day of action. So even if you're not in Texas, if you go to Stop the Trump, what is it called? Stop the Trump Steal .com, fight the Trump takeover.com, fightthetrumptakeover.com. There's a listing of like 34 states, hundreds of actions that could be taking place in support of the Texas communities and fighting the redistricting. You could go to our social media, Black Voters MTR. That's Black Voters MTR. Look for our information about this action that you can take to again to sign on, to send this letter, especially if you're in one of those blue states. You can talk to your governor, to your legislative officials or whatever. Let them know that you want them to go all out. You want them to fight fire with fire, that you want them to do whatever they can to stop this racist gerrymandering. Those are just a couple of things that folks can do to actively get involved. But at some point, just signing that petition or just making that phone call is not going to be enough. We need folks to show up at these actions, show up at these rallies, show up at these state capitals, because that's what it's going to take to be able to stop this. But we have the power to stop it, and we got to start with that belief. Belief is a powerful thing. We got to start with that belief. We've got some power in this. That's why they're doing this. They're not doing it
Amen.
because we weak. They're not
That's right.
doing it because we losing.
That's
You don't
right.
cheat when you really believe that you got the cards. You
That's right.
cheat when you're losing. We got
That's
the
right.
power.
That's right. Cliff Albright, I appreciate you. I love you. Tell Latasha I said hello.
I sure
Appreciate you.
will. Thank you. Love you right back.
Black Voters Matter is the Karen Hunter Show. We'll be right back.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will